A person should never, that's right, never. What a strong way to start this. A person should never make decisions based on what they want, but should make them based on how they want to feel. So, not what you want, not the things, not the outcome, but on how you want to feel. All right, I take that back because as soon as I said that, there's a few things that I definitely make decisions on based on outcome, but I digress. Mostly, we should start with how we want to feel, not on the thing we desire. That's what we're talking about in today's episode of the podcast. If the word witch makes you feel full of power and excitement, if you love personal development but loathe boring love and light conversation, if a sexy combo of witchery and inner work piques your interest, you're in the right place. Welcome home, Magic Maker, and welcome to Expedition to Soul, the podcast brought to you by the Sisters Enchanted. Welcome to my corner of the internet, everybody. It's Sarah here, founder of the Sisters Enchanted. If you're new here, hello, welcome. Happy to have you. If you're returning, hello, welcome back to my virtual sofa in your ears. Anyway, all right, let's get to this. I'm going to share with you 3 reasons why you should make decisions or make your future plans or your future vision based on how you want to feel and not based on something that you want or a specific outcome. All right. All right. The first reason, let's just dive into the first reason. When you decide that you want something like a house with a white picket fence or a new car that's a very specific kind, or you want to have a relationship with a very specific kind of person, or you want a body that looks a very specific kind of way. When you do that, you are disconnecting yourself from the unknown, from possibilities that you might like more, from outcomes that you might appreciate more than the outcome that's in your head. So we only have what we know around us, what we can see, what we can bear witness to for our frame of reference. So if I say to you, what is your desired body type? Like, how do you want your body to look? Things are going to enter your mind based on what you've seen. You're not going to make up a new scene, a new body. You're going to think to someone that you've seen in your neighborhood or somebody that you know somehow, or somebody you've seen on the internet or TV or in a magazine or whatever, wherever you see people, you're going to think of bodies that you've seen before. If I ask you, what is the house that you want to buy? You are going to think of houses that you've seen somewhere rather than making up a house in your imagination. Well, what this does is it disconnects you from possibility because the perfect and right option for you might exist, but you don't know it yet because you've never seen it. So when we want to create a new future for ourselves, but we visualize and we work on that future based on our frame of reference, what we currently have for reference material, we disconnect ourselves from possibility. Well, you might be thinking, then, Sarah, why do we make vision boards and do all these things? Well, because it does help support the vision when you're like, all right, well, I want a new house. I want to move, or I want to feel healthier in my body. I want my body to change. Understanding that you want to be able to hike with your body or dance with your body, or you want a house with a green, what are they called? Like a summer 3-season porch, like a greenhouse in the backyard. That's what I was trying to say. You can tell I don't have one. I don't garden. But if you know that that's like part of the percolation of the idea, that's what vision boarding helps us do, kind of percolate on the ideas, bring everything together. We call this ideation here, dreaming. But there are infinite ways to feel the way you want to feel, while your head might lock into a finite amount of ways to achieve the thing that you want. So you want a specific kind of job, you want a specific kind of house, you want a specific kind of body. That's finite. You're putting restrictions on it. When you say, though, that I want to feel like I have space to garden, that is different than saying, I want this house with this kind of greenhouse, this kind of space to it. When you say, I want to feel alive every weekend in your body, and so you want to be able to do things with your body that feel good, and you want to stay bendy and mobile, uh, that's different than locking on to losing 50 pounds. So, when I say that we want to drive our future vision and make these plans based on how we want to feel, not based on specifics, this is what I mean. There are infinite ways to feel the way you want to feel. There are not infinite ways to have a desired outcome or end result if you've put a finite box around the thing that you want. So, when you are future visioning, when you're planning for the future, start with how do I want to feel? And then you might have some pieces of a vision for that, but you can always be looking around. Does this thing that I've never considered help me feel the way I want to feel? Maybe you have locked into this greenhouse idea, but then you're in a city and you see these beautiful community rooftop gardens, and you're like, I would never have thought of that. And actually, I feel amazing being here. I feel free. I feel like I can explore, like I can experience life. And I get to garden and I don't have to do it all myself. So we want to ask, how do I want to feel? And open ourselves up to possibility. It doesn't mean we stop looking for the vision. It doesn't mean we don't do things like a vision board or sort of putting pieces together, but leading with feeling allows you to tap into infinite possibility. All right. Another reason why you want to start with how you want to feel is because your actions, the actions that you take, the thoughts that you think, these are based on emotions and feelings. So if you are feeling like crap, you will not take a lot of action, probably. If you are feeling not confident, if your thoughts are all negative and you're thinking that you have to apologize for everything and you're bad at everything and you're just in these negative thought loops over and over again, then your actions and you will probably reflect those feelings, the thoughts, the emotions that you're having. It's all going to be like a yucky soup that stirs up. So when we start with how do I want to feel and we work on feeling the way you want to feel, that helps you adjust all that internal noise. It helps you to be the beacon, to be the energy that calls in, magnetizes what you want rather than unconsciously being an energy that repels everything that you might want or that's a possibility for you because you just can't see it because you're stuck in a negative thought loop or you're lacking confidence or you're people pleasing or apologizing for things left and right. So your actions are based on how you feel. They just are. So start with how do I want to feel rather than what outcome do I desire? What's the thing that I want? Now, the third reason that you should them said should, never. I'm using a lot of strong words here today. The third reason that I would recommend that you start with feeling as opposed to the end vision or like locking into a specific outcome is because you are created, you are a sum of all of the stories that you have told yourself about yourself to date, that other people have told you about who you are. So in third grade, when someone told you that you were too loud or you were bad at math or you were stinky or whatever, in 10th grade, when somebody giggled at you for something, or, I don't know, you wanted to be a famous rock star and figured out that you're not very good at singing. Whatever it was for you, having to emotionally manage people at a young age, having to, or maybe you had a great upbringing, but you feel like you have not held a candle to your parents as an adult, and now you feel bad about that. Whatever it is, you're constantly forming stories about yourself based on the life that you've lived and what people say to you and how you see yourself in the world. These stories, they confine you to what you think is possible for you within the character you play in your stories. So if you play a bad person in your stories, if you play a person in your stories who's always making mistakes, can't make decisions, can't get out of the muck that they've created for themselves, or a person in your stories who is lost and confused at a crossroads and doesn't know what to do, maybe life was so good for like the first 45, 50 years. And suddenly, you know, you hit menopause and you're staring at a crossroads and now you don't know what to do. You don't know what happened. Everything seemed fine and now nothing seems fine. Now you feel like you've been wearing a mask your whole life. Your kids are gone. Your partner doesn't look at you the same anymore because your body is different. You don't look at you the same anymore because your body's different. Your brain doesn't work the way it used to. All of these are these are stories that you're creating in your mind. It might be very real circumstances, but the character you play within the circumstance, you're creating that all the time. And so if you haven't healed or rewritten the stories that you're telling about yourself and the character you play in your stories, then you will take action based on the character that you think you are, which is similar to what I said before, like the emotion piece. So if you are the character who always flubs things up, that's the character you're going to play when you decide that you want to make this change. If you're the character who can't make decisions because now you have foggy brain and you can't think right and you keep missing appointments and whatever, that's the character you're going to keep playing. So when we say, well, how do I want to feel? I want to feel like a person who has a good sense of what they're doing in a day. We start there. We start with feeling, and then you rewrite the character that you're playing within the circumstances that might be very or probably are very real for you. Your circumstances, you can look around and see them like they are real, but you get to decide how you play within the realm of those circumstances. Think of a video game, it's one game, but several people play it differently. People lose and die early on. Some people get all the extra life points and collect all the coins and I don't know, whatever. But the circumstance isn't different. It's just a different way of playing it. So you get to decide, are you going to be the person with the power-ups? I have no idea why I'm making game references because I don't play video games, but or are you going to be the person who gives up right away because you can't figure out how to jump and now you're stuck. So you're just going to turn it off. You've got to heal those bits of you that are playing characters that are unhelpful. And we do that by asking, how do I want to feel? How do I develop the character within myself to feel the way I want to feel? So that then you can become the kind of character that can actually live the vision that you have for yourself. Because you right now, if you don't have that vision, you're probably not prepared to live it. So we've got to develop your character strengths to hold that vision and to step into it and fully embrace it with the confidence of a person who is ready for it, right? It's different from a person who's not ready for it. Very different. Think like a person who gets a promotion at work, but they really weren't ready for it. And then they mess everything up. And then they end up on like a probationary period and then they end up quitting or getting fired because they weren't ready. It's not because they're bad people, because they weren't ready. And so we want to become the energy to step into the new thing with readiness and confidence. And we do that by healing these stories we tell ourselves about ourselves. So we want to do that through feeling before deciding to focus on outcome. All right. So there's infinite possibilities available to you when you lead with feeling as opposed to fixating on one desired outcome. Your actions that you take are going to be based on the way you feel. So we want to start with, how do I want to feel? Feel that way. And then you'll take actions in alignment with that. And then the third thing we talked about was that you are made up of stories. Stories you've told yourself about who you are, stories other people have told you about who you are. And when you heal who you are within the stories and you change the character you play in your own story, that is when you will begin to feel the way you want to feel and become the character who can have the thing that it is that you want to have. So, 3 reasons why you want to lead with feeling. How do I want to feel? As opposed to, what do I want to have? What do I want this to look like? What do I want to do? Like the tangible thing. How do I want to feel? And then look for the tangible ways to feel that way. So sort of a reverse engineering process here. If you want some help doing this, we're hosting a challenge for members or students in our Magical Self-Care Born Magic experience. It's an online self-paced course, magical self-care course. It includes access to a self-paced challenge for magical self-care, also Born Magic Bootcamp videos, which will really light a fire within you, the PDF copies of both of my books, Magical Self-Care and Born Magic, lots of other goodies in there, so many goodies in that experience. But we are hosting a energy tracking challenge where we're going to track energy through an entire lunar cycle to help you feel the way you want to feel. And it all starts with the upcoming new moon in July. So it's right around the corner. If this is something that you might be interested in, be sure to check it out, get registered because it does start soon. And in the meantime, you can already ask yourself, how do I want to feel? And open yourself up to infinite possibilities, friends, because there are infinite ways to feel the way you want to feel today alone. All right, y'all. Thank you for being part of the Sisters Enchanted podcast family. I appreciate you being here. And until next time, I hope that you have an enchanted rest of your day ahead. If you love the podcast, be sure to leave us a rating or a review. That helps us to get the word out about all we're doing here at the Sisters Enchanted. Thanks for being part of our community, and we'll see you in the next episode.